I can see the community of Lavilla the way one would imagine Harlem, New York. On every street, it was bustling. There were clothing shops, so you're downtown. There were shoe stores. There were restaurants. There were movie theaters. And of course, there was this great big old Stanton school. The legacy is as long as the school has been here, and that's since 1868, when Stanton became the first public school for blacks in the state of Florida. 1868. But one thing I can tell you, in 1868, the first, and I'll say 69ish, but the first black school teacher, this is in the record, go look it up. The first black school teacher in the state of Florida's name was Helen Dillard Johnson. Well, now, who is this Helen Dillard Johnson? She's the mother of James Weldon and John Rosamond Johnson. So she was the first black teacher, public school teacher in the state of Florida. And then let's go forward 40 years and look at James Weldon Johnson. He was a student at Stanton. He went to Stanton from the time he can't even remember when he was in school, because his mama was always teaching him, right on up until he graduated. He graduated from school, not the way traditional graduation was, you graduate in 12th grade. He graduated in 8th grade because the school stopped there. That was the ceiling. You didn't go any further. And so his mom and dad had to send him all the way to Georgia, all the way to Atlanta, to be able to get his high school diploma. So James Weldon Johnson graduates from Stanton in 8th grade. He comes off to Georgia and goes to Atlanta University and finishes high school, as well as he graduates from college. Bounces right on back here in 1894. In 1894, he becomes not a teacher at Stanton. He's a former student, but he becomes the principal of Stanton.
And he did the things that were necessary to make that school a high school. And those things were done before anyone knew it, by adding additional classes and doing things like that. But he was such a big personality, a big person, and coming back here, not only the principal of this school that takes this school for black children, colored children, from the status it was to a high school, but he also became a lawyer. He studied and he was examined by a board, became a lawyer, and he was an artist too. And at the same time, he was writing and musical work, and you have to give his mother all the credit because she instilled so many things in her two children. But he while he was at the school, he brought culture there and writing the song, Lift Every Voice and Sing. And he talks about he wanted to write a tribute to Abraham Lincoln for his work in freeing the slaves, but it just didn't come. He couldn't birth that. And I believe Booker T. Washington had done something similar, and they were colleagues. They talked a lot, but he said that wasn't coming. But he just kind of sat down and he describes how his experience in writing this song, Lift Every Voice and Sing, and it was like a birth. And he just said how he just cried afterwards because it was something that just came. And it was actually performed for the first time at the school. It was performed by school children. So the commencements were something very special. There were just so many rituals and so many things that instilled the sense of importance, the sense of dignity, the sense of just what all of that meant to so many students. And it's something I'd like to pass on to the current generation and generations to come.
So I was in certain classes with the absolute best students in the class. I'm just thinking about in my geometry class, I think I'm the only dentist in the class, I'm the only pharmacist in the class. I mean, just in our geometry class, we got maybe 3 or 4 PhDs that was in my 12th grade geometry class. I'm not sure, we may have had a medical doctor that wound up being a medical doctor, but it was unique. That's what's unique about Stanton. Every year you had a number of physicians, dentists, pharmacists, PhDs, every year. Might have been 10 in each class. And we're talking about a black school in the deep segregated South.
I got over there at Stanton, my first day of school. I can see me right now on the first floor. Stanton was a relatively new school. Stanton was a big school. Stanton was where all of the activities went on. Stanton was our auditorium. That when you had fashion shows, you had concerts, everything coming to town, you went to Stanton for it.
It was all inspiring because you had someone a grade ahead of you or 2 grades ahead of you that was a high achiever. So you followed their path. In my case, I had Al Denson, who not only played professional football, had Bill Roberts, who became an attorney. They were 2 grades ahead of me. But I had Bernard McClendon ahead of me, a grade ahead of me. And I had Walter Tucker, a grade ahead of me. I'm holding up my fingers. All of these people are college graduates. But then I had myself that people looked up to me. And Ronald Belton would tell me about how he would come to see me pole vault. And I think I was the world's worst pole vaulter in the world. But I was a pole vaulter at a black high school, and that was unique in his neighborhood. Then you got Bernard Greggs, who played football at Florida A&M, said that he always looked up to me for things that I did. So we set up annual pattern, and I guess just how each of us was in our own selves, in our own being, created something for the next generation. You got there following others, and you propelled others to follow you.
Without a Stanton, I would not have an opportunity to be on stage, to learn a speech, to perform. Stanton developed leaders. It developed confidence, friendship, a support system, and you knew a love beyond the love of family. Because if you don't take care of your business, if you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. And you can do it, and you owe it. If you've had a good life, you want to be able to give back.
We are busy reaching out to people at this time. I'd like to invite people to visit our website, because we have a rendering on the website of what this building can be. And we're still working with that, refining that, and of course we need to have money. The city is behind us, and there are some private interests that are behind us, and we know that. But we have to be in the right posture. We would reach out and ask people to help us with that. I mean, to make contributions to us. It can be, and some folks will say, well, I don't have very much, but we know the importance of just monthly amounts. You know, maybe that's $20, $25, whatever you can afford to give that, and you give it regularly, and we give enough people doing that, we can make this happen.
You want to be able to help someone. We are not in isolation as to where we are, how we live, and how we get there. We have something We have so much to be thankful for. And if you don't take care of the future generations, if you don't reach out and pull them just like you were pulled, they're not going to make it. And so it's on your watch. And you've just got to. You have got to help. And again, here I'm talking about Stanton High School, 1868. First teacher, first high school in the state. Keep the legacy going. We can't break this chain. Don't leave us out there in that water. Pull us on to land, to higher ground. We gotta do it. And if you're a Stantonian, and even if you're not, you got to do it. Because we just can't break this story. Of course not.